Ethic Radio. Broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California.
Hello and welcome to Ethic Radio on the hour here. I'm your host, AC Cino, and yes, we are broadcasting live here from Los Angeles, California, bringing y'all a very powerful, informative, exclusive talk radio show with my special guest, Tammy Sorrento, founder of Fireball Approves, and I'm going to give her a round of applause here on Ethic Radio. Most definitely. Before I begin, y'all, don't forget to follow us on the Mixcloud app in case y'all missed this program. Also, follow us on Instagram at ethic_radio. Now, look, y'all, let me give y'all a brief breakdown about Miss Tammy Sorrento here. Tammy has been an insurance professional for the past 20 years and is a licensed private investigator. Tammy's experience includes selling insurance, adjusting mediation, arbitration, compliance, and regularly reporting audits. Tammy used her skills to open a business to keep others from getting scammed. She founded her company called Fireball Approves. This is deep because this is hard to find, and I know there's a lot of people out there that have been scammed by slum landlords or landlords getting scammed. Everybody gets scammed. These kind of things happens every day. Fireball Approves, preventing the public from rental properties and others. After a bad experience on Craigslist, Tammy and her daughter created this company to ensure that no one gets scammed again. See, Fireball Approves provides services for travelers, renters, landlords, renter owners, students, and medical professionals. And trip this out, y'all. Her customers have named her the anti-scam lady. Now, again, y'all, let's welcome Miss Tammy Sorrento here on Ethic Talk Radio. How you doing, Miss Tammy?
I am great. And AC, thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. I mean, it's like when, you reached out and everything and they said, hey, man, you need to look at this email. So when I looked at the email and I said, wow, okay, yeah, because, I've heard a lot of multiple stories about people being scammed through their credit cards and people been scammed by their landlords or being scammed by by real estate agents, just et cetera. Why did you start Fireball Approves?
Well, when I was in this situation 2 years ago, I was actually looking for a vacation rental for a family reunion. Mm-hmm. And like most people, we waited to the very last minute to decide where we wanted to go. So that's what I teach people now.
Okay.
Please don't wait to the last minute because then you're vulnerable.
Right.
So when we decided where we wanted to go, it was Key West, Florida. And my siblings are spread out. And this is an excellent way for us to get together. So for the last couple of years, mm-hmm. I have been a customer of Airbnb and VRBO, and now that I had no time to plan this, everything was booked. So my brother is a real estate broker down in South Florida, and I said, okay, brother, I'm actually going to check out Craigslist to try to find a place for us to stay.
Right.
And he immediately said, oh, Tammy, be careful. That's a hotbed for scams. And knowing what I do for a living, I was confident that I would be able to sniff it out, which I did. However, this situation opened my eyes to how easy it is for someone to trust a total stranger.
Right.
So what I did, I found a listing that would have accommodated the number of people in our group. And when I contacted the advertiser, I got the address. So I did my own due diligence. I checked the property appraiser site so I knew who the owner was. Well, would you believe that the scammer did the same thing? Because he actually created an email in the name of the true owner. So the scammers are evolving. So we have to stay ahead the scammers.
Right.
So while I'm dealing with this person, I kept on saying to him, I just can't send the money because I don't know without a shadow of a doubt that you are the owner. And first he became frustrated, which is not surprising because you don't get past one of the anti-scam lady. And he said, I've been renting this location before you, and I'll be renting this location after you.
Right.
So I said, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had even contacted a retired police officer that
Right.
I was ready to dispatch and say, hey, go check this out for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it never got to that because a scammer called me back and he said, hey, I've got someone else interested in the same date, but I was working with you longer.
Right.
So are you interested at all? And I said, you know what? Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I can't bring my 4 grandchildren down and us not have a place to stay.
Right. Because that's
So
like
he said,
that's like if you, not to cut you off, that's like if you're being in a home and here it is, you're like settling in, and then all of a sudden the actual owner comes out and say, hey, what the heck you doing here?
and that happens more than we realize.
Yeah.
So I said, no, it's not going to happen. He said, well, let me send you some references.
Uh-huh.
And this, I truly believe, had to happen.
Right.
For me to really put, to get the full scope of what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent me some invoices, and he didn't have the phone number, so I just Googled, and I found a phone number. And one was someone my age from Chicago. And she said, first off, she says, I can't believe that he gave you my information because her and her husband flew down from Chicago to Key West New Year's Eve weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And she had paid her money, and the place had the owner in it.
Yeah.
And the owner said, I'm not renting this property. So they had to find temporary accommodations, alternative accommodations.
Wow.
So that would be just horrific in itself because there's not a lot of lodging in Key West. When it's full, it's full. You really can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So I asked her, I said, well, you used your credit card and you used PayPal, so you were protected, right?
Yeah.
And here's where the light went off. She said it took her 6 months to get the refund from her credit card company because they considered that person to person and not person to business.
Wow.
And now this is, home sharing is a new normal for us. So after I talked to her, it was, first I felt relieved that I knew for a fact that was a scam and I wasn't going to fall for it. But then I thought, you know what? I can't stand by and let this happen to someone else.
Yeah.
So I started Fireball Approved. I became a private investigator. And since then, I protect renters when they are looking for a vacation rental, when they're looking for short-term rentals, which is like the traveling nurses, because they travel 4 times a year. Their assignments are 13 weeks. And they're in a new destination 4 times a year. So they are definitely ripe for scammers.
Wow.
And I read their stories all the time. So here you are traveling, a nurse, you're helping people. And yet you could become a victim of a scam. And what a horrible way to start an assignment.
Yeah.
And I also do this for any real estate or long-term rentals. This is truly my purpose and my passion. Now, you're probably wondering why I named my company Fireball Approved.
Yeah, because look, when I seen it first, we thought it was like a video game or something. Like, it was like Fireballs.
Right?
Like,
Okay.
what, this a video game company or something like that with Fireballs? Because, Fireballs could be like Pokemon or, just etc., just to name a few. So that's why I was like, Fireball approves. What are they approving, Fireballs or something? We were learning that, I was like, okay, people get scammed and they take it as a loss. This has been happening all over the world. It happens in California. It happens in Chicago. It happens in New York. It happens everywhere.
I read about scams all the time, but I'll go back to my name. So the name is significant because I am Fireball. I am relentless. I have red hair. I'm a grandmother. There's anyone who knows me personally.
Yeah.
I am the Fireball.
Okay.
Okay. That's what that means. So Fireball approves. And I also did that purposely, AC, because rental scams is not going to be where I stop.
Yeah.
I have a clear mission to stop the scammers. So I am researching romance scams, job scams, where there's virtual jobs that they target college students. And what they do is they post a fake job. Then the student will apply for it and give their personal information. And there is no job, and now their identity just got stolen.
Wow.
So I am constantly in tune with how people are getting ripped off, and I am finding ways to circumvent that.
Yes.
And that's why I didn't want to get stuck in one area. When I launch a new product, I just, it's just going to be my brand, Fireball Approved. So it has been an amazing journey for me because this is something, I'm not an entrepreneur for life. I was a single mom. I was never able to really take risks. When you have that responsibility, you find the employment that has the benefits and all that so that you can care for your children.
Right.
Well, now I'm a grandmother, so I don't have the responsibilities that I had when I was younger. So everything just lined up. So there is absolutely no reason for me not to embark this journey. And since I started, I have saved many people from getting scammed. And here's how I do it. And I'm even going to tell your listeners how they can vet their own rentals.
Okay.
And when they need to invoke me. So let's say, and this is for any platform, we beat up so much on Craigslist.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I got something to say about that after you're done. Go ahead.
Okay. So, and I feel that, for educational purposes, yes, it's very pertinent that, yes, there are a lot of scams on Craigslist, but it's intermingled with the true, honest people. So when I was in this situation, I actually looked for someone like me, and I couldn't find anyone, and thus that's why I started my company, so that I can turn around and protect others.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter. It can be an Airbnb. It can be a VRBO. It can. You would be surprised at how many people search for a place to live, a place to rent on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. On Facebook, Instagram, Craigslist.
Yes.
I've heard a lot of horrific stories about Craigslist. I mean, there's some people that looked on Craigslist and bought vehicles. I mean, I'm not gonna front with you. Like this car I had for 10 years that I still drive to this day, I found it on Craigslist, right? So it was legit and everything. But when you're looking for people to come out and work for you and do certain projects and all that stuff like that, and then you let them come into your comfort zone, you never know. It could be a killer, it can be a scammer, it could be somebody that can cause harm in your comfort zone. I tell people, anytime you're online looking for certain things, make sure you do your research and background check individuals, because you never know where they come from, because people can be anything online. Make up fake names. They can be a catfish. And this happened to numerous people that I know. When someone had a profile that was a duplicate on Instagram, and then they were saying that they was giving away grants and all, and we discovered that, wait a minute, this is a scam. Like, they want your credit card information. They want to try to get everything so they can go in and steal your money and say that you have money coming, but you don't have no money coming. These are people that I know that have been through some horrible experiences behind that situation. Now with the Craigslist situation, you know, looking for apartments or a place to stay, if you're going out of state or a different country and you looking for a room to rent and all, right? You might walk into a dangerous situation. There's situations out there that are really true, based on true stories. I mean, I've seen a documentary of a guy that traveled all over the world through Craigslist. That's when Craigslist was a safe place, but when it got into the wrong hands, that's when it created a problem.
And you know why? Because it's easy. There is no skill to pretending to be someone else.
Right.
That doesn't take a bit of skill.
Right.
Being honest and being trustworthy and being ethical, that's a skill, and that's hard work.
Yeah.
So the ones that actually go out of their way to steal money, it's because it's easy to do. And until something happens, they're going to continue to do it. And the thing is, they are constantly evolving. So here's the scam. They can find a listing. It could be an empty home because it's a foreclosure.
Yeah.
It could be a house that's for sale. It could be a house or a property that is truly for rent. I just had this situation where I was contacted by a renter that was looking at a apartment on Craigslist, and he was convinced that it was legitimate. So he actually wanted me to dispatch someone to go look at it, to physically go there. Well, when I did my vetting of the ad, I used my private investigation tools, and I found the owner of the property. Now, the listing showed this apartment in the middle of Washington, D.C., downtown. It was less than 1,000 square feet. It was like 895 square feet. But here's when I knew that it was a scam, is the property was worth over, that one apartment was worth over $750,000.
Wow.
Now, the listing showed it as being a rental property for $1,500 a month. So that right there told me that's a scam. So what I did is I contacted the true owner, and he said, yes, I am renting my property. He said, but I'm not renting it for $1,500. That property goes for $5,000.
Wow.
And that's not surprising considering it's a $750,000 property. So I saved that person because he was ready to transfer the $3,000. It was going to be the first month and the last month.
Okay.
And he was ready to do it.
Whoa.
And luckily he contacted me, and I was able to show him where the owner said, no,
Right.
that is not me that's advertising that for $1,500 a month.
Right.
So
Wow.
this is how I help people.
Mhm.
I make sure that they are dealing with either the authorized agent or the owner of the property. And if you recall my own story, that was what I wanted.
Mhm.
I wanted to find a company to do what I ended up creating.
Mhm.
So this is truly a dream come true for me
Right.
to do this because I feel like I am giving back. And even my cost to do that, you couldn't hire a private investigator in the town to do this because right now I'm $19.
Mhm.
And we're going to go up to $29 because my reporting tools have gone up. So naturally I will end up going up as well. But still, $29
Mhm.
compared to losing $3,000 and then having to start over,
Yeah.
not have a place to stay. What a hassle.
Right. And that's not bad because like people are paying like between $300 to $3,000 just to hire a private
Right.
investigator for these kind of things, you know,
Exactly.
because there's a friend of mine that I know that have been scammed by their landlord and all, and they looking for answers on what they need to do,
Right.
in a
So what
situation
I
like this.
do
Uh-huh.
is after I determined that like that listing
Mhm.
was a definite scam, so I went back to the renter and I said, first you need to report that to Craigslist as suspicious so that no one else will fall for that ad.
Mhm.
And then I turn around and I report that to the FBI.
Mm.
I'm not playing around.
That's right.
My dream is for everyone to know about me, know about my company, because I do this for the entire United States.
Okay.
And I purposely kept the fee down where there should be no reason that someone would not be able to afford the prevention of scam.
Right. So
That's the entire purpose.
okay, so what I want to know is like what locations do you service? Like name a few states. Like do you service
All of them.
all of them? So do you serve in Texas?
All of them.
Do you serve
Yes.
in California?
Absolutely. And I'm really needed in California because you do not have public records. If someone's looking for a rental, regardless of duration, you cannot plug into the government website or the county website and see who owns that property. You can't in California.
No, you have to pay for it. You have to pay
True.
for it. Yeah.
Yes. So with that, it just makes more sense to use a private investigator that goes the extra step.
Okay.
I don't give a green light to anything unless I've actually spoken to the owner. And I don't use the information from the advertiser. I only use the information from my investigative tools.
Okay.
I'll get the address from the advertiser.
Yeah.
But then I research with my tools that the common public does not have. And I contact the owner to confirm if they are truly, if they've listed that property on that website.
Interesting.
Yes. So,
because I mean, I got people from I got people from Texas that may be interested in your service.
Please, yes.
You know, so I mean, there's a lot of them, and that's what I'm saying. You might be getting a lot of phone calls coming your way. So, any of you listeners out there, reach out to Miss Tammy Sorrento at Fireball Approves. Definitely reach out to her. Yeah, fireballapproves.com. Y'all can find her on her Instagram at instagram.com/fireballapproves. Twitter.
Yes.
Facebook, the website. What I want to ask you, so let's say if someone had been scammed out of like credit cards, or someone's information got stolen online or something like that, do you handle those kind of cases too?
Well, right now I am handling the rental properties, of course. I am building out other services, other products to protect people. For credit card scams, I would recommend that you contact your local police and the FBI. You may not hear about it. You know, it's so tough because these scams are so rampant.
Yes, that it is.
That it just blows my mind. Lately, what I've been researching is I hear of these victims that they trusted the advertiser or the rental ad, because when they responded to them, first they got the very common, I'm not near my property, I have an ailment, or I'm in the military, or I'm a missionary. So they come up with some reason that they can't meet you at the location. But here's what they do. They say, but I'll give you the lockbox code. You let yourself in, tour the property. If you like it, let me know, and I'll send you a lease, and you'll wire the money to me. Well, here's what's happening. Most people would think, hey, who else is going to have the lockbox code? But the proper person. But that is not the case. And this is something I want the listeners to please understand. That is another tactic for the scammers. The scammers are buying the lockbox codes. Wow. And this has actually been happening since 2015, but it has really ramped up in about the last 6 months. And I'm talking, AC, I am talking families, single mothers, people that should not be taking advantage of. No one should be taking advantage of. But let's face it, I have a special place in my heart.
As you should. I mean, because there's people that have rented properties or apartments, and there's a lot of damage that needs to be fixed into their homes or into their apartments, and you know, they get screwed over on that note too as well. People that are moving out of their parents' house, and you know, they look at themselves as if a first-time buyer or something, and then they get screwed.
Yes. And you know what I'm finding too with the victims, because I reach out, I actually am constantly reading account after account so that I know what the scammers are up to. And also anyone who follows me on Facebook, Fireball Approves, my Facebook page, I'm really proud of my business page because I post about scams, period. It doesn't have to be just about rental scams.
Yeah.
I post about all scams. And if everyone understood the red flags, I feel like the scammers are prevalent because we're falling for it.
Right. Right.
So I'm trying to educate, even if you don't use me. Use my tips. Use my tricks.
So, and I want to ask you, I want to ask you a question too. Like, what type of scams do you prevent?
So, right now, I am the industry leader. As a matter of fact, I am the only one that's doing this. Mm-hmm. And that is, I am vetting rental ads. And like I said, it can be from anywhere. It can be from the paper. It can be from Facebook. It can be a friend of a friend. I just had a order from someone that is sending their adult child to college in New York City. So I checked out the student housing to make sure, because like you said, I think New York was the second state that you mentioned that has a lot of scams. And even when I spoke to the property manager of the building, they said, "Oh my gosh, you really do that? That's amazing." Because there are so many scams. So when I first started this, I'm speaking to property owners constantly. And then I realized that property owners are also victims of this climate, because the ones that do know about the scam, they're leery about trusting. So I thought, you know what? I could provide an accreditation for the legitimate property owners. Mm-hmm. So I also have, if you look on my website, I have properties that I have already vetted that you don't have to worry about. Mm-hmm. They've jumped through, they've applied for my accreditation. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are good to go. Now, here's what's funny, is scammers just want to put an ad anywhere. So we had a couple that I turned down because they were scammers. I had one that applied for my accreditation, and he claimed to be the agent of the owner. The owner lived in Switzerland. So he provided a copy of the passport. Mm-hmm. I guess he didn't realize that he was dealing with Fireball. Because I naturally contacted the owner. Mm-hmm. And he said, "You've got to be kidding me." He said, "That was an ex-employee of mine."
Wow.
He has no business listing my property.
Wow.
That's pretty brazen, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean...
That's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to give you a round of applause for that. Wow. Wow. I mean, you was on the money. You was like, you jumped right on it as soon as you found out about it, and they reached out to you, and it was like, okay, don't worry. Let me do some research and look into this.
Yeah. So I even checked like the Airbnb and the VRBO. And here's a myth. A common myth is what I just talked about, the lockbox code.
Yeah.
The second is that it costs money for someone to list their property on a site like HomeAway, VRBO, Airbnb. So surely a scammer's not going to do that, right?
Right.
Wrong.
Oh, really?
It is
Break it down to us.
Yeah, I will break it down. It is nothing for a scammer to pay to have a listing on a site when they can reap tenfold or 100-fold of what they just paid to list that.
And it's sad that these scammers will pay for this ad. They would go above and beyond to pay for it to lure people in to make more money off of them. Oh man.
Exactly.
Man.
So when you're eating, drinking, and sleeping about how to combat the scammers, you really realize that it can happen in any situation.
Yeah.
Unless you know the person, unless you actually know the owner.
Yeah.
You have to do your due diligence.
Yes.
Regardless.
Yes.
So, here's my tip for your listeners. If you're looking at a rental property, and let's face it, I've been reading reports that millennials, the majority are renting. They're not owning properties. You know, they change jobs faster than the generation before, so they don't want to get locked into, owning a home. They may transfer from San Francisco to Seattle, Washington. Anytime that you're looking to rent a property, first thing you want to do is you want to reverse image search. You can do this in any of the, Google or Internet Explorer or Yahoo. If you're on the ad and you pull up the picture, right-click. And you're either going to see an option for reverse image search, or I've also seen it worded, where else is this image? And here's what you're looking for. If a person is renting a property, they generally don't just list it on one platform. They may list it on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Craigslist. It's going to be more than one place.
Right.
So what you want to do, if you reverse image search, now, this is not 100%, it's not a fail-safe, but it's a good tool. If you reverse image search, and where you're looking at the ad, let's say it's $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, but you see it listed on another site for $4,000 a month, then you know that the ad you're looking at is a scam.
Especially if it's $4,000 a month. Whoa.
Exactly. Especially like the one that I did in Washington, D.C. So that's a trick for your listeners, that you want to see where this property is also located.
Right.
As far as the advertisements. If the state has public records, then you can see who the owner is. But just like my case, don't forget that the scammer knew who the owner was of the property. It's not like he just saw the ad and then copied it. He literally went to the public records and created an email address in the name of the scammer.
Wow.
So, with that being said, if you narrow it down to just a few, let me check them out so I can tell you which ones are legit and which ones aren't. Because, and it's not, like I said, it's not just the money. It's the hassle that goes along with it.
Yeah.
And I often get asked, what are the stats about how many times that the scam happens? And, of course, there's different variations to it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I have to say about it. No matter what statistic you read, you can quadruple that at a minimum, because people are embarrassed.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't get reported because of that, because of their pride.
Yeah.
I had a situation when I first started, and a elementary school friend of mine contacted me, and she said, "Oh, Tammy, thank God you're doing this. This happened to my daughter." And I said, "Oh, please let me talk to her," because I was new in the business, and I really wanted to get some, learn from her experience. And she said it was truly like a PTSD.
Wow.
Her daughter had taken a job she was in Florida. She had taken a job in California and contacted someone and paid her money, and she got over there, knocked on the door, and there was already a renter there. And she said, "But I have this lease that I signed,
That
Jim
fake,
was my
that
contact."
old fake rental agreement. Yeah.
Yes. And they're like, "No, it's not Jim, it's John." And, of course, she had never talked to the real agent of that property. But the point is that the brave ones are the ones that come out and say, "Hey, I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to someone else."
Yeah.
But there's also the ones that are so ashamed that they fell for it.
Yeah.
And you know what? The scammers are getting better and better.
Smarter.
They try. Yes, they are. They try to gain your confidence, gain your trust. I was helping a friend try to find a rental, and when I inquired on one of the ads, I got the sob story. She said, "I was in a car accident. We had to move to Texas. My husband's in the military, and I just want to find someone to take care of my home, as well as, as if it were me." And just then I knew that I was talking to a scammer. So I said, "Well, what's the address? I want to go by." And I had a purpose to that. So she gave me the address. And I say I don't know who I was talking to. I could have been talking to another country. And they said, "Yeah, go ahead and drive by. But if you see a property management sign out front," she said, "disregard that, because I fired them because they were too greedy."
Wow.
Well, I see, I had to go by.
Wow.
I had to go see. And sure enough, there was a property management sign. And I called that person, and they said, "Yeah, we know about that scam on Craigslist, but we don't know what to do about it." Yeah. So
wow.
I look at this.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it was like a win for win situation, to where the number that you call, when they answered from their end, they stated that they was, unaware of this, but
right.
It was a good thing that you called the number just to, really
that's
check.
Why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted them to know that there was an ad on Craigslist for this property, and they were like, "Yep, we know." Yeah. So, and it's not just the person. The victim is not just the person that loses their money, and now they have to start over.
Right.
Everyone is a victim in this situation. How would you feel if your house was listed, someone paid money, And now they come with their bags in hand or a U-Haul.
Yeah,
And
I've
they're
seen
at
it
the front
happen.
door. Wouldn't that just make you feel horrible?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it happen before, and there's some of us that had those kind of experiences like that before. And I mean, it's even people that have like been in their home for like 20 years, and let's say like the banks have like foreclosed without informing the people that's been paying their mortgage every month, you know.
Right.
Right. And like, what do people do in this type of situation? Because there's people that have been living in their house for 20 years, and it's like they're getting scammed. You see what I'm saying? And
Yes,
they're
yes,
stuck in
they
this
are.
situation. So like, what do they need to do in this case? I'm asking.
In that case, I would contact the housing authority. Because just like you said, that is someone that is paying their rent, and it's the property owner
Yeah.
that was neglectful
Yeah.
for the house to go into foreclosure. And I've heard of that case more times than not. That's a very common case. You're right.
Or they was
And that's
renting
who I
to
would
own as
contact.
well too. They was renting to own the place. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or if they inherit this property and they wasn't aware of, oh, well, this home is going into a foreclosure.
Right.
So it puts
And
them
you
in
know
an
what's
awkward
happening with the
situation.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So what's happening with the foreclosures is the scammers are going around, and they can see, you can tell when a home is empty. So they find out that it's a foreclosure. They change the locks. So this is another variation of the scam. They change the locks. Then they show you the property.
Yeah. And
You
then they be
move
so
in,
quick
you
and
turn
fast
on your
about it.
utilities.
Yeah. You cut on lights and
And-
everything is on, and you
Right.
know, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next thing you know, you get a knock on the door from the bank saying, "Why are you here?"
Yeah. Like, we own this property, you know?
Yes. And you think that the person that you signed the lease with, the fake lease, you're going to be able to find them? No, they are long gone.
Yeah. And it's fake realtors out there, too. Like, people that pretend that they're a realtor and they're from the bank. And, you know, and that's why I was going back to saying, like, if somebody lived in this home for years, right, they can try to come to your home and say that, hey, you know, the bank has switched over. Did you know about this? You know, that's why I said people been scammed like that, too, without their acknowledgement.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
You know, so, I mean, it's deep.
Yes, it is. You are not kidding. So I am trying to educate the public
Yeah.
on things that they can do to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Then when they narrow down to places that they're really interested in, then call me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste your time, like for the one that wanted us to go see the apartment in Washington, D.C. If it doesn't pass my test, we're not going to charge you to go look at that.
Yeah.
There's no sense in it. It just makes no sense.
Right.
So I just want everyone to know that we don't have to stand for this.
At all.
No. You know, the scammers are going to do their thing, but eventually, if we all jump on board and we do our due diligence, then you know what? If the rental scam is not profitable for the scammers, they'll go to something else, and then I'll attack them on that front. But it truly breaks my heart every time I hear about a family or anyone that is losing time, money, and just the absolute frustration of going through that situation. Because you know what? It doesn't have to happen.
No. Man.
So situations like this where I get to speak to you, that is, you are helping my cause.
I greatly appreciate that. You know, I had to give you a round of applause for that. I do.
That was for you.
I appreciate that.
You get the rib.
I appreciate that because, like I said, this information is very important to the people. And like I said, these things happen every day to a lot of people from all over the world. And I know if someone walks up to me and say, "Hey, what's that Tammy lady's number from Fireball?" You know, I'll definitely give them the telephone number and everything. Contact Miss Tammy Sorrento. Tell them Ethic Radio sent you.
I have a question. Knowledge is power. We can band together. So here's what I'm going to challenge the listeners to. Think about when you turn on the news and you hear about people getting scammed. Why are they getting scammed? Because they didn't know about us, about Fireball Approves. So please share our information. We have a phenomenal, like I said, business, Facebook business page, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever your social media outlet is, look up Fireball Approves and share our information, because I guarantee if you're not looking for a rental property, someone in your friends list is. So we need to get the word out.
What are the greatest achievements of building Fireball Approves?
It is, like I said, I almost feel like it was a calling. Having gone through and not getting scammed, but then just thinking about all of the people that do fall victim for this, my greatest achievement has been in protecting people. It was scary thinking about starting a business and being an advocate, a consumer advocate.
Yeah.
But then I thought, you know what? If not me, then who?
Right.
So, you know, there's been good times, there's been bad times, but what keeps me motivated and what gets me up in the morning is the fact that I am doing something good.
Round of applause to you, Miss Tammy. Round of applause. I know that's right.
I just want to make the world a better place.
Yes, and as you should. They don't make good people in this world anymore. You know what I mean? It's like a few great people left. While there's a good few people left in this world, job is to spread the information and spread the word to people that are still here, because tomorrow's not promised. And it's like we have to be careful and take precaution. Anything that we do as far as making decisions and buying a home or renting a home or renting an apartment or traveling from state to state to have a stable place to live while they out there in different countries, overseas or different states. It's like you have to be aware, not only just your surroundings, but be aware on what you're getting yourself into before you engage and spend your hard-earned dollars.
Absolutely. And you know what it boils down to? Unfortunately, we just can't trust everyone that we come into contact with.
You're right.
And that's sad to say, but that is the world we live in.
You're right. You can't be so quick to just jump and make it happen so quick just because it sounds so good. You got to take it one day at a time and one step at a time before you make your final decision.
So true. Here's another tip for the listeners. Everyone already knows, don't wire money to someone that you don't know, because wiring money is no different than just walking up to a stranger and giving them money. Something goes wrong, you're not going to get that money back.
No.
But I'm going to even expound on that. You've heard of the payment apps like Venmo and Cash apps like that?
Yeah.
Do you realize that there is no consumer protection when you're using those payment apps?
Not at all. Unless you have a protection on your device or on your computer or on your phone, you can protect your information. But some people go in there, just go in blind without being protected. Just like when people send us donations or pay us for our services, we have to have a conversation with them and talk to them to make sure that they're legitimate, as well as we inform them that we're legitimate.
True.
It makes it harder for us because there's people out there that are scamming and scheming with their PayPals and these apps and all that. And it's been happening like on social media. It's been going on in like our everyday life. So it's like, if you want to provide service for somebody, and let's say if they're in your local area, in your city, they send you the money, it's like, make sure you have a conversation with them first. Both parties need to ask questions so that way they are aware and they done their research about that individual or person's platform or their business, or if they're renting anything. It's like you have to take precaution.
Yes, you do. If you can, use your credit card, because at least you have someone that you can call and you can dispute the charge if you have a problem. But like Venmo, the Cash app, was actually developed for you to exchange money with people that you already know.
Right.
Like, let's say you're at dinner and, one person wants to pay because they want to use, they want to get the points on their card. Everyone there, so everyone just pitches in with, by using a Cash app to send it to you. That's what that was intended for, not for business transactions, because if something goes wrong with one of those Cash apps, you don't have any recourse. So make sure that you're using a form of payment, not wiring funds, because you absolutely have no recourse. But your best bet will be money order or to use your credit card, because at least you have somewhere you can go if there was a problem.
Right. If there's an emergency and you had a need and all, it's like it's important to be aware of that situation. Because sometimes people can go to the restaurant and they can't pay, or they got to make a phone call like, hey, can you send me some money right quick? They try to make it better with technology, but the thing is, it's like you got to protect yourself with this technology.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Point blank, period. You don't protect yourself with this technology. It's like you got to be careful. And that's the hard part, is people not taking precaution for it.
And then they end up paying for it later on.
Right, man.
So let's educate each other. Let's make sure that we run these scammers out.
Round of applause for that. Round of applause for that. Gotta run them off.
That's my mission.
We greatly appreciate you. We really do. Only because it's like you're out here making a difference. To the listeners out there, look, y'all go to fireballapproves.com. Check out Tammy's website. You can also go to Facebook at facebook.com/fireballapproves. Also, you can follow on Instagram at instagram.com/fireballapproves. You can also follow her on Twitter at twitter.com/fireballapprove. Tell her that Ethic Radio sent you.
Please.
Any shout outs you want to give before we close out?
Well, I just want to thank my family. My brother, spoke about him at the beginning. He has joined forces with me. He's a real estate broker down in South Florida, and his expertise is amazing for what I'm doing. So even if anyone just has a question, they can contact me. I do not mind at all. I just want to steer anyone in the right direction. And then my brother is Stephen Paulson. I'm so happy to have him on my team. And, of course, my daughter. She has been with me since day one.
Well, shout out to your brother Steve. Shout out to your brother Steve, and shout out to your daughter. I definitely want to shout them out here from Ethic Talk Radio for helping you with this movement, with this establishment to save lives and save people from these predators, scammers, schemers, you know? So it's a definite thing. And you know something? The world will know you as the anti-scam lady.
That's what I'm talking about.
AKA Tammy Sorrento. Go ahead.
There you go. I was going to say, do you realize that on Angie's List, you were talking about when you hire people to come and work on your home or your car or what have you? Here's another tip. If you read the fine print, it states that they do not check the license or the insurance of the contractors.
Interesting.
Yes. So once again, you still need to do your due diligence to make sure that whoever you are hiring is licensed and insured, and that will save you a lot of heartache.
I greatly appreciate having you here on Ethic Radio.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Anytime.
This has been a joy.
Yes, most definitely. It has been, because it's like we got to reach out to people and make sure that this won't happen to a potential person that wants something better in life, you know?
Exactly.
I might be contacting you in certain situations. I'll be like, Tammy, I need you to look into this for me, you know? Because I don't know about this. I'm not too sure.
And it will be on the house for you, AC.
Hey, I appreciate that. I'm going to hold you to that now, Miss Tammy Sorrento.
There you go.
I'm going to hold you to that.
I'm good for my word.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you know, and I had nothing to worry about because I know your word is your bond. You take care of yourself and you keep doing your thing and keep making a powerful impact in the world.
Well, you know what? You're doing the same, and I applaud you.
Yeah, thank you. You know, I gotta give. Okay, I'm gonna applaud here on Ethic Radio. Most definitely, most definitely, because we making it happen. You know, we making it happen.
That's right.
So that's definite. And, you know, be looking forward to the people reaching out to you and contacting you, because, you know, for you to do this all over the world, all from state to state, you know, like I said, I got my people in Texas, you know, I got my people in Cali, in Los Angeles, California, and Orange County, and Chicago, and just everywhere. So, you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to need your service. And to you listeners out there, y'all share this like crazy and put the word out. We got the podcast right here. Let's make a change, all right? Let's definitely do that.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime. So, Tammy, greatly appreciate it. You take care, all right?
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Yeah, well, there you have it, y'all, here on Ethic Talk Radio. You know, so like I said, man, if anybody out there that has been through all these crazy scams and schemes and people trying to sell you them BS dreams, don't fall for the okie doke, y'all. Don't fall for it. Thank you for listening, and thank you for tuning in to Ethic Talk Radio. All right, y'all. Much love, and I'm gone.
You're listening and tuning into
the station with the best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Ethic Radio. Broadcasting live from Los Angeles, California.